Hello, internet, YouTube, wherever, and whoever may be watching this, whenever you may be watching this. My name is Matthew, and I've just decided that I'm going to start trying to document not most of my life. Okay, hold on. I'm going to try doing something where I want to get my life on track. I want to become more productive. I want to get more things, and I want to get to a better means of providing myself. Like right now, I'm just working at a minimum wage job at a local Norman's Hallmark store, and I've been working there for like 5 years now, and I really I don't know. It's like I've always wanted whatever my job or my career to be is in a more like a creative means, like with ideas of being like sort of like an animator. The problem is, and I will be the first to admit it, I have not been doing enough to work towards that goal. I don't draw nearly as much as I should. I never really I took 3D animation classes when I was at college in New Jersey, and some at the Mercer County, just a couple of things. But I always had the plan of trying to go on to further schooling and stuff like that. But monetarily, just I never put together a portfolio. I made excuses. I kept putting it off. Then I finally determined or realized that in terms of actually having to go to an actual school is probably not necessary anyway, as I tend to go off on tangents. Anyway, I still believe that I really want to be an animator. I love animation. It's like pure creation. I kind of almost have the feeling at least in terms with art, animation, all that stuff, you kind of almost become like a god in terms of you can create everything, you have control of absolutely anything, you can do whatever you want. But it's not easy. It takes time. I've usually been a fairly patient person, but right now, most of my time I'm spending either on YouTube or playing Magic Arena or playing the mobile game Puzzle and Dragons on 2 mobile devices, my phone and a tablet. That's what I've been spending most of my time on. I've lately tried to get back into sort of doing some painting, and I do want to do some more painting. And I got a Huion Canvas 16 Pro, I believe it was, after seeing videos, and then I messed around with that a little bit, but again, it's been it's been a few weeks since I last picked that up. Anyway, I'm really hoping that by filming myself doing activities, it gives me an excuse to, because if I'm putting it on, putting myself out there, I'd probably want to try to put out my best person. Now, of course, I'm going to go through this and edit it, and I don't know how much of this is going to make it in, but I just figured I just feel like I need to have something that I will say that I can take it, and also use this to provide. And you know what? No one's probably going to care about this, but I want to do something to document me creating, putting something up. I tend to always have these ideas. I'm going to get into something and try to get into a groove, but then inevitably something causes a snag. Something trips me up. Something breaks the flow. And then I kind of fall off of that, and I fall back into bad habits, and I just do think I'm sure this is relatable to a lot of people. I'm sure like a lot of people have to deal with this. And I'm just trying to come up with some sort of creative way to get through this, get past this. I'll see the next, whatever the next thing I decide to do, and I'll record myself doing that. So here's to, hopefully this is a journey that maybe some of you will enjoy or find somewhat interesting. Maybe I'm an incredibly boring person, but I really need to become, I just need to become more productive. That's just the meat and potatoes of it. That's basically the story. Okay, so here we are in my room, and this is on the topic of painting. I started learning. I took like oil painting classes at Mercer County back 24. Oh, no, like I guess it would have been the fall of 2009. Like after I graduated college in New Jersey, and I didn't want to start because I didn't have means of making. I didn't have money, so I wasn't ready to start paying off my student loans at that point. So I needed to remain enrolled. So I decided to take some classes at Mercer County, and because I didn't have a chance to do sort of the fine arts, the traditional art stuff while I was at college in New Jersey, I took painting and drawing classes at Mercer County, and there I did sort of working with oil paints, and that's when I started. But anyway, lately I decided I kind of wanted to do that and maybe work on possibly selling paintings, doing commissions, stuff like that. And I wanted to test to see how quickly I could get a painting done, how quickly I could actually get a painting done. Well, I utterly failed that because I was trying to learn how to sort of do this. I had this sort of set up, and I wanted to see if I could paint within, I don't know, an hour, in less than a few hours. And that was, I think it was last year I started this thing. And I'm still not done with it, and then again, I kind of fell off. So, again, I want to still, I don't want to sacrifice quality just for time. I want to get better so I can do the art faster. Anyway, and this is just because of, you see how the quality of this is not something to be final, whatever. I'm just trying to do it as a sort of practice and trying to get more used to it, but as a way of also becoming more comfortable using the paints, and because I tend to be very stingy with my paint, and in regards to making good oil paints, you can't really do that. You can see how this is one of the other things. This is something I want to work on some more. I want to go back to this one. This is a self-portrait I did, and you can see how I don't know how well you can see in the how I did the paint, but see how streaky it is. It's very, very thin, and you can even see because of how thin the paint I applied was that it's actually kind of starting to wear off at the bottom. So yeah, I definitely would like to try to go back and make this, try to improve on this, make this look better. But that's just one of a multitude of projects that I have plans for. But anyway, the one thing I was kind of messing around with is in working with glazes, working in glazing. I have liquid, and I was just messing with the idea of okay, if I take yellow and I do a glaze of magenta over it, would that make a nice red? Because yellow and magenta are kind of combined in, with using pigment like inkjets, printer. It's magenta, cyan, yellow, and black. Those are used to make all the colors. So cyan, so magenta and yellow technically are used to sort of make red. I was curious as to how pure or how clean or how bright a red I could actually make. using just putting glazes, just putting like a glaze of magenta over yellow. And the problem is colors do not really show up that well on the camera. Anyway, and I was just going to do multiple glazes a couple days, but I wanted to make sure that the yellow was completely, like, I tried doing another glaze and I don't think the yellow was completely dry, and it started to mix in and it started to make more of a brownish sort of color. So anyway, here I am. I just put like another layer, and again, the colors don't really show up that well in this lighting. Trying to change the white balance to auto. I don't know if that's gonna make it any better. Anyway, so yeah, use the liquid and then mix the magenta and then try to some layers, and hopefully, like, if I do multiple of those thin layers, seeing just in effect, just try to test to see what would it look like as I put more and more layers over it. As like the light shines through the transparent layers and then comes back through, it's like, see how vibrant a my gosh, it just looks so blown out on the camera. Whatever, it's I guess it's the point. Anyway, oh yeah, I had a on my Twitter. I do have a Twitter account. Like I guess it was like about like a month or two ago. I had just for the heck of it, like, I just wanted. I guess it was partly inspired by the rise of the whole Siren Head thing, and apparently like just how popular this could be. And it's just a guy just creating what just looks to be like random. I mean, I didn't look into further, but like again, it just looks like just making creepy images. And it's like, oh, a person was able to gain following just by making creepy images that seem like almost anyone could do, and being able to create just a character that everyone just ends up hopping onto and creating their own lore about, or just jumping on. Just like, and I feel like I can do stuff like that. So like I went into sort of just trying to every day create some sort of another random creature or creepy image or just whatever, and I was inspired. Like I did some work and I was being somewhat inspired by Stephen Gamel, the original like illustrator of like sort of the scary stories to tell in the dark, which I'm sure a lot of people are probably familiar with since they made that movie. I don't even remember if it was last year or 2018, but whatever. And the creatures and the monsters were based off of the illustrations, Stephen Gamel's original. I'm going to say Gamel, I don't know if it's pronounced Gamel or Gamel. But again, I was doing that, and I was basically putting something together, even if it wasn't even that good. Like, just doing something quick doodle on GIMP using a mouse. That's a very flattering angle. Anyway, and then just posting and trying to do it like every day or almost every other day or something like that, trying to do something frequently. And then, just like everything else, I started doing an image that I started actually planning out. And I was like, I kind of like where this is going, and I want to make sure I get this right. And I started spending more time on this one image. And there are parts of it that I liked, and there's parts that I'm not sure if I want to do, or if I need to crop it some more, or whatever. And then I stalled. Again, I stalled. I tried to do something with a simple idea, and then after a period of time, I feel like I have to continuously up the game. I have to try to work harder, and then I end up spending too much time. I'm not satisfied with it. I end up losing interest in it. I let it fall by the wayside, and it was also around that time when I was working on that, because I was working on the computer, and I was also exercising, and I've had like a slight history since like 2 years ago with like sciatica, and I had a sciatic flare up, and that was basically putting me on my ground, and I couldn't sit at the computer, and I couldn't work on it, and I ended up putting more like roadblocks into doing stuff. So I haven't done any of that. I ordered that Hui on canvas, and I was able to do a quick doodle on that, and I posted that on my Twitter. Then I started doing a sort of Bob Ross inspired just random like landscape thing, and I was using the Huion canvas to that, but I also wanted to try to the idea of doing something with like sort of a twist on it, where typically like Bob Ross, like frequently there's the mountains and the trees and all that stuff. I was thinking, well, maybe in the front I have like a cliffside and someone would be standing on it looking out, and on the mountain range there'd be some sort of big like monster or creature like that's peeking over the mountains and like roaring into like the air like with this big like intimidating like maw and stuff like that. But I haven't worked on that because I have to figure out like, okay, how does a person look? Where is the person standing? What pose is he in? And then there's also the rock that I was saying, and it's like it didn't know exactly how. And again, it's like every single time I try to do something, I end up trying to push forward, and then once I have, it's like when I make something and I have no expectations for it, and I kind of almost like how it comes out, just there's like this one on Twitter where it's just like a head, which is like sort of like a screaming like disembodied head, and like sort of the ink splashes were like inspired by sort of the Stephen Gamel like illustrations and stuff like that, and I really like how that came out. And I used as a reference, I think it's Dietrich, the guy in Raiders of the Lost Ark, the Nazi guy whose face sort of shrinks in on himself, and I use I use an image from that as a reference, and I like how that came out, and I did that with a mouse, but like that one I liked. But then again, once I start coming up with an actual finished idea of what I want, then I start putting an expectation on how I think I want it to look how I want it to come out. And then when I don't know how to actually go about doing that, I end up stalling because, I don't want to get it wrong. As soon as it seems like this is the obnoxious thing. As soon as I start putting in an idea in my head that this can come out wrong, I stop. I freeze. I don't continue on because I don't want to get something wrong. If I'm just doing it and just putting it out there and I don't care about it, then I can kind of look at it like, hey, I kind of like how that came out. And I didn't really have any expectations for it. I kind of had sort of ideas, but I was just kind of winging it. I was messing it up. Well, not messing it up. I was messing around, and then I put something out in there, and blah, blah, blah. As soon as I start to try to care about something, I can't finish it. Or I find it harder to finish because I don't want to do this thing that I'm putting a lot of effort into to feel like a waste of time because, I worked really hard to try to get this to be a very particular way, and then it doesn't turn out that way, and I feel like I wasted a lot of time. But the problem is, I'm wasting more time not doing anything. I've also been trying to do music. Anyway, not really trying to be, it was like messing around with trying to come up with musical tunes every now and then. Not doing any right now, but I had some like little tunes in my head, but again, I haven't worked on those in months. So every now and then I come up with a tune in my head and I just start humming, or I just like riffing and I start like improvising stuff like that. And every now and then I'd say, maybe I'll record it in order to save it for later. And most of the time I don't, but I liked some of them, how they come out. I don't have any on hand right now. They'd be in my phone. I have a DSLR that I got because I wanted like a higher quality camera that I had more control over focus and zoom, and I actually got it to take photos of a wedding. And I did take some photos and some footage, but I haven't done anything with that. Just like the previous wedding that I went to. I go off on tangents all the frickin' time. What's the next thing that I should do? What can I do? Well, in terms of, let's going back to the painting. Like, after I decide I finish, like, messing around or working on this or just everything, if I want to fix this, I think I definitely need to fix the face there. Again, like, this looks like the nose is sort of collapsed in on itself. It's, like, indented. It's not as thick as far out as that should. Also, that light should be on. But I'm not working on this painting. I'm not working on this painting right now. Anyway, and that's something I worked on today. We had a drawer where the front had come off, and it's been that way for years, and decided to, you know what, just freaking glue it together. I wanted to try to work on fixing that, improving that, making that look better, do more layers, fill that in so it's like more complete looking, better thing. And the skeleton. I had taken the skeleton out because I was going to, well, I did take some photos for the creepypasta images on the Unus Annus thing, but I didn't end up submitting them in time before the actual video that they released went up. But since I figured, since I want to get better at rendering cloth, either drawing, painting, I figured besides trying to fix that painting, I might try to do another quick painting as a study, just this sitting up on that chest with the light on it, try to capture the, and just see if I can render, like, you know, fabric on a surface. It could be an interesting composition. That's just another thing. Probably gonna go back downstairs now, and we'll see what I'm going to do next today. I mentioned before that I've been playing Magic as well, and speaking of Magic, I've also watched some like people playing Magic Arena, and it's like, that's one thing about like Magic that I like, is the deck building aspect, and trying to find different and cool interactions, and trying to come up with an original, unique deck idea. And several months back, I recorded some games of me, like, that's the thing, I did record on the computer gameplay videos of me recording them. I mean, me playing some Magic the Gathering gameplay videos, but I never saved, edited down, did anything with the footage, because they require watching through all the footage again, deciding what to cut down, and once I've already done it, it's like, I feel like I don't want to go through it. There's a problem with the fucking editing and all that shit. And I'm thinking, like, if I don't want to sit down and sit through it all and watch again, why the fuck would I expect anybody else to want to sit through and watch it? Although there were some, like, moments that I thought were kind of funny that that I watched. But that's another thing, like, I wrote down, also, it's like, I also kind of want to do skits. I've wanted to kind of, like, do little skits, like, little stories. That's the thing, it's like, I feel like, it seems like it should just be so easy. Really necessary, like, as long as you have a camera. You have a camera, an idea, and you can come up with an idea, and you can come up with anything. You can record anything, like, it feels like it should just be, it's easy to create, like, anything, like, tell a story, like, I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be a good story. I mean, like, you prefer it to be a good story. But it seems like, just with anything, as long as you have a camera and an idea or something like that, you should be able to basically turn anything into, I don't know, several, like, earlier in this year, before the pandemic hit, I wrote down on my phone, like, a little script for a sketch that was, like, very easy. It seems like it could be a pretty, a fair, like, not like a super hilarious sketch, but a pretty funny little sketch that should be easy to film with just me, my person, playing both parts. It just requires two people, and it's pretty much just, like, the humor is just in the words that are being said and how they're being said. But I've been putting it off, and I haven't done it because in order to heighten it, in order to really make it work, like, I think, like, I want to make sure I have the right look, because they're supposed to be kind of like gentlemen, so, like, the more official and the more, like, you know, put together, like, really, like, they look, the better it would be. So I would want to make sure that they have, like, two suits that, or two, well, like, at least really well dressed, preferably sort of like suits, something like that. And also, I kind of think at the end it would benefit from the use of like a dummy, like me sort of being like one of them sort of being beaten up, thrown across the room or something like that. That's kind of like what it is. But I don't have a dummy, and I don't know the best way to go about making a dummy with cheap, with just what I have around the house, because I don't feel like going out, and especially now I can't really go out and buy materials for it. So again, it's like a sketch idea that I specifically wrote to be as simple as possible, and yet at the very end, it doesn't need to have that, but I feel like in order to push it over the top, it kind of, I would want that. But because I can't produce the thing that I want for that, I haven't worked on it at all. I haven't tried to put it together. I don't even know if my hair would work for it. I mean, I guess like maybe like I slick it back. Anyway, but again, like in the end, with that, it's like in terms of videos, making anything, like someone, if they really wanted to, could make a video out of a freaking fucking nutcracker, just a nutcracker. You could make a video with this guy. He's a character. He could totally be a character. And even something like a little Christmas ornament, and being able to, you should be able to create anything. So sketches, like some of the videos I saw, there was regarding doing. There's a website where you can take like poses and like their cameras, not that photos and like figures, and you just fill it up. And that was, I spent like a couple days doing that, and then again it kind of stopped. I moved on to something else, but again trying to learn to draw as quickly as I can. Some of these I actually liked how they came out, like the gesture of it. This is actually kind of like fun. You can see even some of them where they started off, like when I started off rough, and I tried to actually go over and like render them in a little bit more. Doing it, working it upside down so you see the faces more as just the shapes. Again, some of them that I just like, I don't know, like this, right? Like do more of this. It really, like even like being able to draw, it seems really, if you really wanted to, like even something as simple as creating a series of drawings that you just like narrate over, and like this is like sort of the image that I mentioned earlier that I was getting stuck up on, that I started working in GIMP, and this is sort of the preliminary proof of concept or like studies and everything, and the idea is like trying to do something that's seemingly innocuous but gives a hint of something more sinister. It's on the computer. I guess I could bring it up, but I mean, I don't know. I don't feel like it's, I don't know. But again, just it seems like if someone like really wanted to, as long as they have like the drawing ability, like you could basically essentially just do like animatic. Like you just draw what it is. It's like you have an idea, you just come up with the idea, you create the characters, you come up with a series of events, you just draw it out, and like, do something as simple as let's do like draw like one frame, and then you do another frame, and or you just do like one panel, and you do another panel, and you could do voiceover, and it just seems like it just feels like it should be really easy to do something, like anything. I just think Working tomorrow. 10 to 4. I go to work at. I go into work at 10. I get off at 4. And oh yeah, today's July 20th, 2020. Right? It is July 20th, 2020. It seems like I should be able to put something together. Oh yeah, there's another thing that I've been working on for a while, and again,